If you're nodding yes right now to any of what I just said, you're not failing. Okay, let's be clear. We're not failures. And you're not behind, you're just overloaded. And that means it's time for a reset. It is time for a reset. This isn't a tech boot camp. This is a 5-step system that you can use today, even if you only have 15 minutes and a half warm cup of coffee or cocoa or Coke nearby. You can totally do it. Hey friend, welcome to Tidy the Clutter podcast. I'm Mariah and I'm so glad you're here. This is your space for discovering real life ways to simplify both your home and digital world. Life moves fast, and between work, family, and everything else on your plate, finding time to get organized can really feel overwhelming. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be. Each episode, we'll be exploring practical strategies and simple solutions that make organizing feel doable, even on your busiest days. Whether you're looking to create routines that stick, streamline your digital life, or bring more calm to your living spaces, you'll find actionable tips you can start using right away. So get comfy, grab your favorite drink, and let's dive in. You know how junk drawers just happen? One minute it's clean, and the next it's full of batteries, birthday candles, coupons from 2 years ago, and a key you swear belongs to something, but can you remember what? No. And for a lot of us, that's our phone. It's become a digital junk drawer. One day you're just trying to check the weather, and suddenly you're dodging 97 app emails, 22 red notification dots, and geez, a dozen open tabs in Safari you forgot to close like 2 weeks ago. And before you know it, you're overwhelmed, distracted, and honestly, just want to toss your phone into the nearest drawer and ignore it altogether. If that sounds familiar, you are absolutely not alone. And that's exactly what we're walking through today. We're talking about digital clutter, but not in a delete everything and start over kind of way, more like, how do I simplify this mess so my phone can actually help me without feeling like another to-do list or a massive mess in and of itself? Last week in episode 36, we talked about the emotional and mental clutter that piles up when we hold on to things just in case and how hard it can be to let go of that. But what happens when the thing you can't let go of is digital? Not because it's sentimental, but because it's sneaky, because it's everywhere, and because you need it. Can we just say that? But it's also kind of running your day, and it's massive chaos. I'll be honest, I try to keep my apps somewhat organized on my phone. I've got folders. I usually have a few go-to screens for business tools or social, finance, that kind of thing. But life hit harder than expected this year, and my home screens showed it. There were apps everywhere, which is very unnormal for me. Some I hadn't touched in months. Some I downloaded just to test and never deleted them. Others I liked, but I hadn't had the chance to file them into the folders yet. And when my phone felt messy, I feel messy. I'd open it to respond to a message and then I'd almost freeze. My brain was kind of like, it didn't know where to go. Like, should I be looking at my message, or should I be looking at this app, or should I be doing this or that? There was no landing zone. It was like visual noise every time I unlocked the screen. Sometimes I'd get a text, open my phone, and instantly shut it again. Not because I didn't care, because I honestly wouldn't even read the message yet, but because the clutter made it feel impossible to focus. And when the unread notifications started piling up, I just started ignoring the messages altogether. So, which is not the best thing in the world. That's not who I want to be, but it's what happens when the clutter builds up silently. For me, I just tend to shut down when that type of thing happens. And here's what we forget. Every time you open your phone, your brain has to process everything on the screen. It's so subtle, but your brain is processing it every time you open your phone. Even if you don't tap on the app, your brain still processed that the app was there. So when you've got endless rows of apps or dozens of unread texts and a wallpaper that's busier than your toddler on a sugar rush, your brain is silently working overtime before you even do anything. That's not laziness, that's cognitive overload. And in a season where your energy is already stretched thin, the last thing you need is another space, especially one in your hand, that zaps your focus instead of supporting it. So let's name a few signs that your phone might be contributing to your stress more than you realize. And you let me know. You let me know if you check yes to any of these boxes. You avoid checking texts or emails because it feels too overwhelming. You open your phone for one task and end up scrolling apps without finishing anything. Your notifications are in the double or triple digits. You feel guilty for wasting time on your phone, but also too exhausted to deal with it. You find yourself using your phone as a distraction from the physical mess around you. If you're nodding yes right now to any of what I just said, you're not failing. Okay, let's be clear. We're not failures. And you're not behind. You're just overloaded. And that means it's time for a reset. It is time for a reset. This isn't a tech boot camp. This is a 5-step system that you can use today, even if you only have 15 minutes and a half warm cup of coffee or cocoa or Coke nearby. You can totally do it. So, the first step is start with just one screen. So, do not clean out your entire phone. Start with your home screen, just the first screen you see when you unlock it. Look at every app and ask, do I use this weekly? Does this app serve a purpose or is it just taking up space? And would this be better stored in a folder or on a second screen? Here's what I did. So I took off every app I didn't use at least weekly. That included an old weather app, which I have no idea how that even got on my phone. I think it was from vacation like 2 years ago. Anyway, a random wallpaper customizer, and a couple of social platforms that I literally am never on, just apps that I didn't really use. So I wasn't deleting everything, I was just clearing the counter. So quickly going through and being like, yep, I use that. Nope, I do not. And deleting things that I didn't use. This step alone made it already feel lighter. Now, the second step is going to be group like items with other like items. So if apps feel overwhelming, folders are going to be your best friend. Now, mind you, I have an iPhone, so I am talking as if everything runs like an iPhone, which I know is ridiculous because it doesn't. I feel like Androids would have some type of folder system too, but don't quote me on that because I might be completely wrong. But anyway, ideally, your phone has some type of folder system, and that is going to be your best friend. Start with 3 folders. This is what I would recommend: finance, which would include banking, your budgets, money apps, things like that. Social, so Instagram, messages, group chats, Discord, anything along with the social aspect, and tools like calendar, weather, timers, grocery apps, reminders, etc. This is how I organize my phone on a high level scale. So business stuff is on its own screen, so I don't accidentally start working when I just want to check the weather. I have a social folder because sometimes I want to feel connected, and other times I shamelessly fall into my introverted bubble and I don't check my social connections like I should. And that's fine. And then I'm going to use what's called like a later folder for apps that I don't use often, but I know they need a space. So I need to figure out where exactly they're going to go. I'm going to put them in this later folder to make sure I tackle at a later point in time. It's not about the aesthetic perfection, it's about that visual breathing room. And if you want to take this one step further, I would suggest checking out episode 28, Digital Decluttering for Busy Moms. That episode breaks down a step by step method for organizing your inbox, your phone, and your photos without getting stuck in all the weeds. Now, step number 3, quiet the noise. So, notifications aren't helpful when they are constant. And I feel like when you download a new app for whatever the purpose is, somehow you might forget to hit no, please don't notify me every single time there's a message or whatever. And if you're in like group me messages, you start getting a ton of messages like all the time. You can silent those. I feel like that was a really big thing because we have some family groups and we're in the group me and we have some discords. And man, it just every once in a while, I think when I'm in my introverted state, I cannot handle all of the, oh, so and so said this and don't forget this and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we can quiet the noise. So this past week, I turned off every non essential alert on my phone. What does that look like? So, no badge icons for Instagram and no previews on my lock screen. No ping for emails unless it's marked VIP through a filter that I've created. You can set your phone up to tell you things on your schedule, not everyone else's. And if you need a reset button on this, scroll back to episode 20. The 10-minute focus reset, that one's all about reclaiming your focus when everything around you feels loud, including your phone. So let's jump into step 4. Declutter messages and emails in micro moments. So you do not need an entire weekend to clean out your messages or an entire Saturday or anything like that. Here's a rule that I kind of use. Every time I open my text or inbox, I delete one message thread or archive one email. That's it. I started very, very simple, and that was doable. It was so doable that it became a habit. If you do that a few times a day, you'll clear dozens of those items without even realizing it. It just becomes natural at that point. It's the power of small, consistent habits. And if you're into that, definitely check out episode 22, Organization Habits Made Easy. It's full of realistic ways to really stay ahead of the clutter without making it your whole personality. Now, let's hit step 5. So give yourself a plan and don't pressure. Don't add pressure to it. This is where the magic really happens. When you give yourself a tiny plan and a realistic time frame, you create momentum. For example, tonight after dinner, I'll clean up just my first screen. Tomorrow morning, I'll make 3 folders. This weekend, I'll delete any apps I haven't used in the past couple of months. And if you're like me, you want a checklist to follow. I've got something for you, my friend. So I have the 15-minute digital declutter checklist. This is your zero pressure, super doable guide to reset your phone and your focus in 15 minutes. It includes a whole slew of things you can do right now that only take about 15 minutes. So if you have 15 minutes, you can go ahead and grab the freebie at tidytheclutter.com/037. And yes, it is totally free because I want your phone to feel like a tool again, not another source of stress. So if your phone has felt like a second junk drawer lately, I just want to say this. You're not behind. You're not a mess. And you definitely don't need to delete your digital life to feel more in control. Start with one screen. Start with one folder. Turn off one notification. That's it. Start super simple and super small. That's how momentum starts. And that's how peace finds you again. So next week, we're going to be digging into a question that so many of us have. Why does clutter keep coming back even after I decluttered? We're talking about sneaky reasons your systems keep slipping. and how to create routines that actually stick without becoming the clutter police in your own home. But until then, breathe, delete one thing off your phone, and grab that checklist at tidytheclutter.com/037. You've got this, my friend. I will see you next week. That's all for today's episode. Remember, creating a tidy home isn't about perfection. It's about taking one small step at a time. Each tiny win adds up. And before you know it, you are making real progress in your space and your life. I hope you're leaving today feeling excited about your next small step forward. Did this episode hit home for you? Share it with that friend who's been feeling overwhelmed lately. Sometimes knowing we're not alone in the struggle is exactly what we need to hear. And if you are loving these tips, following the podcast and leaving a quick review really helps other moms discover these simple solutions too. You can find all the resources mentioned in today's episode, plus explore our previous episodes at tidytheclutter.com/podcast. And hey, if you haven't grabbed your free digital declutter checklist yet, this is your friendly reminder, my friend. Digital clutter is sneaking into our lives more and more each day, but you can take control before digital clutter takes control of you. Head over to tidytheclutter.com/digital15 to get started. Until next time, keep things simple, stay focused, and enjoy those small wins along the way. Take care and talk soon.